Megalodon was one of the strongest, most invulnerable, and fearsome predators on our planet. The monster swam in the ocean, devouring any creature it was lucky to encounter. The only comforting thought is that Megalodon has long since disappeared. Or not. We'll find out the answer in this episode. Let's go. Megalodon in the Mariana Trench. Japanese marine researchers set up a huge bait cage and a pressure-resistant video camera and flashlight in the Mariana Trench. The people hoped to capture a new species of creature or just get unique footage, and they succeeded. A huge shark, presumably a megalodon, was caught on camera. Its weight was clearly dozens of tons, and its aggressive behavior was fully consistent with all the stories about this predatory fish. According to biologists, such large sharks do not exist in the world. At least, scientists have never encountered similar ones. Nevertheless, a lot of skeptics got into this story, believing that all this video is nothing more than a staging and a hoax. What do you think? Could someone really have faked this footage? Or did people wrongly consider megalodons extinct, and this is a direct proof of that? Leave your guesses in the comments. Well, while you're writing your opinion, I'll share mine. Considering that this case is not the only potential proof of the existence of these super predators, I begin to believe more and more in what's happening. The fact is that not so long ago, in Yamal, Russia, scientists stumbled upon the jaw of a megalodon. Of course, it wasn't fresh, it was just an ordinary fossil. Nevertheless, its size and shape lead scientists and ordinary people to believe the impossible. No, really, what else creature could have a jaw measuring 5 feet in length, 3.2 feet in width? It has many triangular-shaped teeth, 2 to 3 inches long. You have to agree that it's unlikely that a common shark could have such a large size. By my logic, there's no one left but Megalodon that fits this candidacy. It's not even hiding. That's what all those who believe in Megalodon will now think. This footage was taken from a high point of a ship full of research students. People were lucky enough to see with their own eyes a shark of simply gigantic, abnormal size. According to my senses, it was 2 or even 3 times the size of all the other sharks. Once again, I personally find it hard to believe that this is an ordinary species of shark with some deviation in terms of size. But the version about megalodons lurking somewhere in the depths and accidentally showing itself to people doesn't sound so stupid anymore. It's a pity it was just students, not a trained group of divers and ocean explorers. They would have quickly put a motion detector on that shark, taken good shots out of the water, and could have said for sure what it was. Well, in the meantime, we have to limit ourselves to our own theories, which, by the way, I suggest you share in the comments. Tooth. I wonder if the shark that lost this tooth planned to give it to the tooth fairy and get some kind of gift in return. Judging by its size, it must have been a very good gift. Okay, jokes aside, a Florida diver found a real underwater dweller's tooth. Particularly surprising in this story is that the tooth has just enormous size, 6 inches long. What creature could have such a tooth? Judging by its shape, it's clearly not a sperm whale tooth, and in that case, to which creature, if not to the giant shark, could it even belong? In my opinion, this is yet another wake-up call to scientists that Megalodon was swimming, or is swimming, somewhere underwater. By the way, the protagonist of the previous story is not the only one who has a Megalodon tooth in his collection. Here's another lucky guy. This guy is a 6-year-old Briton. The boy, along with his father, was walking on the Bawdsey Beach in Suffolk, UK, which is popular with fossil seekers. The family was lucky. They found a really rare and impressive artifact. As you understand, I'm talking about a giant tooth of a giant shark. A 4-inch long tooth, barely fitting in the palm of a child's hand, was shown to an evolutionary biologist who confidently stated that it was the tooth of a megalodon. And now, if we compare that it's a megalodon tooth, remember past story, or the one where people found a fossilized jaw, and then project all this onto huge creatures underwater with the same body shape, we can conclude that megalodons really do swim somewhere in our waters to this day. Am I wrong about something? A real tragedy. The following story could be described that way because it's of the saddest possible nature. In 2013, a group of tourists was sailing the waters in South Africa, and nothing seemed to be going wrong when all of a sudden someone attacked their boat. Of course, I'm talking about an attack from below. However, in order for this process to be successful for a predator, it needs to be extremely large and strong, because otherwise this boat simply cannot flip over. And unfortunately, that's what it turned out to be. You look how quickly and easily the boat was overturned, and panic and screaming began on the boat. The story, as you've already realized, has a sad ending. None of the bodies were found by the rescuers. There's been controversy for years about what creature could have done such a thing. It's hard to believe it was a whale. These creatures do not usually show a desire to eat people. That leaves us to believe it was a giant shark, the one which name begins with the letter M. A 30-foot-long shark was caught on camera by ordinary sailors in South Carolina. The most amazing thing in this story is that the creature crept up on people quite suddenly and unnoticed. That's what I call an experienced and intelligent fish. According to the sailors, a number of signs of the shark indicated that it was still small, but how big in such a case could it grow? Do you think it could have been a baby megalodon? Or did the sailors make a mistake and it was just an ordinary shark? Write what you think about this in the comments. We've learned quite a few different stories in which people caught giant sharks on camera, found unthinkable teeth, and something else. But still, what was Megalodon really? I suggest we delve into its history to better understand all those clips I showed you and come to an unequivocal conclusion as to whether one of them could have shown a real prehistoric predator. Megalodon is a famous relative of modern sharks, presumably extinct about 2.5 million years ago. The fish was of enormous size and occupied a unique ecological niche, which made its behavior significantly different from any species of sharks known today. First of all, it's worth noting the similarities with whales, especially the fact that megalodons were supposedly warm-blooded creatures. This means that they were able to maintain a constant body temperature, which ordinary sharks were not able to do. The second vector is speed. Megalodons moved at about the same speed as fin whales do today, about 30 miles per hour. They also had a low level of endurance and a slow metabolic process. But despite all these seemingly weak characteristics and features, megalodons occupied the highest place in the food chain, and almost no one else could compete with them. But first things first. Megalodon size. The size of this fish is really impressive. According to scientists, it was somewhere between 60 to 82 feet long and weighed more than 40 tons. Just so you understand, the length of the shark was equal to about 5 or more cars standing in a row. Not a bad size, right? Well, with such a huge body, it's impossible to be weak. Because of its weight, Megalodon could break through the chest cavity of a small cetacean with a single collision at speed. Habitat. If you think that with such an abnormal size, this shark must live somewhere at a maximum depth, you're greatly mistaken. In fact, Megalodon used to hang out in coastal areas. That's evidenced by the many teeth found there. And no, they weren't found there because of the current. It was a good place for the fish to breed, and it liked to swim in warmer waters. Why is it so big? This is the question many uninformed people who first hear about this giant shark will ask themselves. Indeed, why has Megalodon grown to such an impressive size? Well, some other sharks or other creatures remain tiny compared to it. Actually, the answer is rather simple. Remember when I told you about its slow metabolism? Well, this feature and the shark's large size were the result of the high oxygen level in the places where the fish lived. It was because of this that Megalodon grew to such a large size. Nowadays, however, this level has dropped, and no one is physically able to exceed the size of the blue whale. And yes, the blue whale is clearly not smaller than the legendary large shark, but it feeds exclusively on plankton, which is very, very abundant. But Megalodons ate only fish. Very big fish. So does it exist after all? The factors I mentioned earlier, and many other factors, suggest that Megalodon could not have survived in today's environment. Other predators are much more agile and nimble, which means that food for such a large fish would be in short supply. On the other hand, there are hard facts in the form of eyewitness videos. They clearly show the tracks of a giant creature, which by any means is not a whale. It's impossible to understand what it is if not a whale. We can only guess and stand on one side. You're either for the fact that Megalodon is alive, or you're sure that this is nothing more than a hoax or prank by modern underwater creatures or humans. That's all, guys. Can Megalodons exist nowadays? Or should it have been forgotten long ago? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you later.